Hey everybody, this is Andy from TruckLogics, and I have here Brian, one of my colleagues.
Good day.
And I see a couple of you don't have my screen shared in the foreground, which basically means you have it somewhere in the background, maybe behind some other applications. We're going to hold off on questions until the very end where we have a Q&A session. So what we'll do is we'll go through the webinar, and then at the end you can mention, as I mentioned, you can ask your questions. All right, so what we'll do is we'll begin. And we have just a couple slides here to start off the webinar. And here are just a couple little tips on using GoToMeeting if you're not familiar with it. You can type in your your questions, down here in the control panel. And then over here you have the option to hide your control panel so it's not in the way of what we're looking at. What we're going to discuss today is we're going to discuss loads and dispatches. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to get your loads and the details into the software, and how the loads focus around billing, and how loads are required for the less than a truckload option. Dispatches are basically everything after the billing, such as routing, driver settlements, driver assignments, truck assignments, expenses, etc. Quick dispatch allows you to skip the load entry page entirely. This is only good for full truckloads. All right, and what we're going to do now is going to go into the application and take a look at it. And there we go. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay. All right, and those of you who have, and I've noticed a couple of names and I've recognized a couple of the people out there, and you're familiar with TruckLogics to some extent. And here's again, this is the dashboard where you can see all your active dispatches and active loads, and you can also pull down on these little menu items. But what we really want to do is talk about loads. So as the slide mentioned, the load really deals more with the billing aspect and financials of the particular dispatch or, well, load, and the items that are being shipped. So here we have the various search options which we can change around to bring up what we see down here. Right now I'm looking at everything that was created under this account for the last month, and I only have the one particular load. To create a new load, you can either click on the new load button, or if you happen to be in a different section, say if you were in reports or driver log, you could click on this little blue button up here, and you could create a new load from anywhere within the application. Okay. And also one thing that we can see here on the load screen is the navigation bar. You can see all your loads, your undispatched loads, active, completed, and canceled loads. Completed loads are equivalent to delivered loads. And then below we have financial options where you can see loads that were uninvoiced or unpaid or paid. Just a way to narrow down the data. So what we'll do is we'll go in, we'll create a load, and we'll do a full truckload. Now the account that we're using here has a manual entry for the load number, and one of the pros of doing a manual number entry is that it will allow you then to number your dispatches or your invoices in a like manner. So we can have load number 10051, for instance, and that will allow us now to go into our dispatch, which we also have set to manual entry, and our invoice, and we can name them all 10051 just to keep everything nice and concise and equal. So here we can go in, we'll specify our customer and our broker. For instance, we'll say broker here, add that information, and then we have our shipper. There we go, coming from Ontario it looks like. Our consignee is located here, customer in Rock Hill. we'll specify our date. We'll say, okay, we're going to let him stay home on the weekend. We'll add that date. And then we'll go over here, his drop-off date. We'll make it that. Here, of course, we have our freight information, which will then be used to populate the bill of lading. You have your description of your items which you're shipping. So we'll say he's delivering pom-poms, for instance, and you can specify your weight in tons. So he's got 50 tons of pom-poms, and that's actually too much. Truck won't take that much, so we'll say, okay, there we go. And value, of course, I don't know how much pom-poms cost, but we'll say they're $99. All right, and then we have our hauling fees down here. Again, loads are pretty much just for financial information. So we'll say our hauling fee is going to be per mile, and we'll say it's $2 a mile. And then over here, you can calculate your miles using Google Pro Miles, or you can enter them in manually. All right, right now we have set Google, but we'll do Pro Miles. And what that'll do is that'll actually go in, and once we create the load, you'll see we also get this travel planner. And here it shows you the route plan, and then you can always click on fuel optimization, and it'll show you information. This comes off of Pro Miles, and this deals with the fuel optimization feature of Pro Miles. And here we have our invoice for the information, and we can generate that invoice with invoice number. So we'll say 10051, and make sure we have all the rest of the information. Okay, we'll generate that. All right, invoice generated successfully, and here we have the bill of lading, and you can see here that it was auto-filled with all the information that we put in on the load screen. So we'll generate that as well. Instructions, deliver, and generate. All right. Now from here, what we can do is we can go in and we can auto-generate our dispatch by putting in manually entering the number. And that brings us directly to the dispatch screen. That's one way of doing it. Or what we can do is we can cancel this dispatch, and we can go in and we can say, okay, I'm going to create a new dispatch, and I'm going to do a quick dispatch. Now this is a dispatch that is not assigned to any particular load, and you'll see a lot of the load items are carried over here to this quick dispatch. And again, we can say 0052. Got to learn how to type today. Let's see, 10052, and we'll say broker again. We'll say this guy. Consignee will go from Houston, Texas. We'll go to Rock Hill this time. All right, again, we have information here, description, and we'll say, okay, and flat fee. And then here what we have is where we can assign the driver. Say driver 1 in truck 108. And then we can, of course, notify the driver by email or notify by text message. And we could even add additional drivers here. And the driver and the truck assignment area and the trailer assignment area is unique to the dispatch. That's not something that you will find in the load. So we can just create the dispatch here. All right, and then we'll get the summary and we'll get the invoice information. Now, what you can actually do is you can actually go back and in the loads financial section, we could look at uninvoiced loads and we'll see 10052. This was the quick dispatch that we had just created. And this is where you can go in and you can say, okay, well, show me all the loads or all the dispatches that are uninvoiced. And the reason that even the dispatches are located in this load screen is basically because the loads deal with the financial aspect of the product or of the shipment. So we keep that all together over here in this area. And we can go in here and we can click on it, bring up the information here in that dispatch, and we could then create the invoice 10052. And let's see. There we go, created. And now it's in a draft status. And this is where you can also look at any check calls that have been made to the dispatch from the driver through the app. And you can also look at the trip sheet, which will allow you, which can be used then for IFTA purposes. You have your date, your distance, your time, or your what type, if it's loaded or empty, the total miles, gallons used. And this is also where you can go in and do your settlements. So basically anything that deals with getting the package or the shipment from A to Z would be located here in the dispatch, where the details regarding what that shipment is under the load area. And those are really pretty much the two differentiators between the load and the dispatch. And then of course if you have a particular dispatch, if you say, oh, well, geez, I didn't want to go in here and I didn't want to create that quick dispatch, you can go up to the upper right over here and cancel that dispatch. And under the dispatch and load sections, you will notice that we have the different statuses. Let's see, year to date. Don't have that many here. Let's see, previous year to date. Let's see what we got. Okay, and here you have the different statuses of loads. It shows you that it was dispatched or undispatched. This one was canceled, for instance, and then we have complete. And complete is the same as delivered. And you can also then narrow it down again at the navigation bar on the left-hand side. And then you have your various statuses under the dispatch screen as well. You can see if it was assigned or unassigned, canceled, or delivered. So, all right, well, I guess that, for the most part, covers everything. We have, let's see, there's another section. Oh, yeah, there's a part also where we've had a couple customers that have said that they do the same routes over and over again, and they deliver the same shipment over and over again. Basically, they're just going from A to Z every couple days. So what you can do is instead of going through and recreating the entire load from scratch, you can just go in and you can say, over to the right-hand side, we've added this cloning feature. That allows you to actually go in and create a new load number, for instance, and it will pull all the same information over from that previous load. And you'll just be able to update the date then. And create that new load. And then you can create the dispatch off of that. If you have a dispatch that you've previously created, for instance, this one here, we can go in and we can clone the dispatch as well in case that was a quick dispatch and there was no load associated with it. So that's the essence of the loads and the dispatches. Let me see if I can unmute this so we can go in and take some questions. Here we go. If anybody has any questions, just click on the raised hand icon here, and I can unmute you, and we can answer any questions that you may have. All right, let's see. No chats out there, no messages. So do we have any questions out there? Anybody want to see something additional that I didn't cover? Anybody have any questions that might need clarification? Here we go. Hi, Richard. How are you today?
All right, Andy. Thank you for your help. I know I've been leaning on you a little heavy.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Under loads, I just ran into this problem this morning, and you kind of skipped over it very briefly. It was the Pro Miles integration showing under the travel planner.
Right.
When I populate my trip sheet utilizing Pro Miles, I'm not pulling up a fuel optimization route. I'm showing a travel route, but I'm not showing fuel optimization. I'm thinking it may be something in my settings, but I'm not exactly sure where I should go to get fuel optimization for my runs.
All right. Okay, let's see. It can depend on the route itself. Not all routes will utilize fuel optimization. Let's see. Let's bring up this one here. I have this one set to Pro Miles, and here's a travel planner. So what do we have on this one? Fuel stop and max. So it's essentially the same route as the other one, just with one little caveat here. But some routes are not going to have any type of optimization. But are you seeing this on a regular basis with all your loads, or just this one in particular?
Just within the last two that I've put in. I don't know if this is, if there's a pattern involved with this problem yet or not. I just wasn't sure if I was supposed to be seeing something that I wasn't.
Okay. All right. Well, what I can do is I can look into that for you. Take a look at those. Take a look at those loads. Do you happen to have the numbers of those?
On me right now. Hang on one quick second.
All right.
Andy, I'm going to have to email you those
Okay.
load numbers.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, and what I can do is I can take a look. I mean, what we do is we pull that information in from Pro Miles. So if Pro Miles doesn't see any type of additional route that might save you fuel, they're not going to pass that information back to us. But I can take a look. Please email those to me, and I'll take a look at them. Did you have anything else?
No, sir. Thank you very much. Like I said, I apologize. I know I've been leaning on you heavy, but there's a learning curve involved with this program.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's with anything, but yeah, that's what we're here for. You're never going to be a burden. Trust me. That's yeah. So please, yeah, send any questions you have to us, and we'll answer them as best we can.
Andy, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. And what we'll do is this is just the first in a series of webinars that we're planning. We're going to do these, and we're going to record them and post them out there. And we'll have additional ones that detail, I guess, some more invoicing, some more settlements, reporting. And that way, if there's ever any questions, people can go and they can look at this information. Let's see. I think we had, who was it, Tim? Were you asking a question? Did you have any questions, Tim?
Yes, we have a question. I mean, I know it's not about loads or dispatch, but it's about payroll. The wife does the payroll and stuff like that, and she's trying to see where certain things go or how she can do advancements all at once, or pay a driver for doing 5 loads that week instead of just doing it at one at a time? Is there options, check marks?
Yeah, you can go in here and you can actually go to invoices. Oh yeah, we're talking about settlements, sorry. We'll talk about driver settlements. And yeah, if you would see the settlements here, well now I don't have any, let's see. And they have to be finalized to show up here, and I apologize I don't have some in this one. But you'll be able to then see the driver's name list, and then over here under the action column, it'll give you the ability to go in and bring up all the settlements for that particular driver and pay them there in one shot as opposed to doing them individually.
Where do we go to finalize them then? Because if the load's been completed, I mean, does that not make it finalized then, so we have to do something else?
Correct. I'm gonna hop in here, Tim. This is Brian. So I'll show you real quickly here for that. The key is to do them on like more of a weekly basis and not individually. You do have to finalize the settlement within the dispatch. So if we take this one for example, and we go to the settlement section, and it's just we're working on some different solutions here, but for the time being, it's really just getting in the habit of acknowledging the settlement when you complete the dispatch, and you would want to go down here. If let's say this is the agreed rate, we want to pay this guy, we just want to hit save and finalize. So nothing set in stone here, but this is marking that we've looked at it, we've finalized, this is what we want to pay the guy for this load. And then when we do payroll at the end of the week or whatever day you do it, you would go to accounts, driver settlements, and then here's this dispatch I just finalized. So if I had 5 that I had finalized for the week, it would show 5 dispatches right here, and then I could click on make payment, and it would pull them all up together. I could uncheck the ones I wanted, and then add deductions from here and kind of do that all in one motion.
Okay, that answers your kind of question. Okay, that answered her question. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Anything else from you guys, Tim?
Not yet. I know I've emailed you a few things, but I mean, we'll go with that, with like that chat thing, but that's not a big deal right now. So.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, any other questions from Richard or Bogdan? There we go. Hi, Bogdan. Oops.
Hey guys, how are you?
Okay, how are you today?
I am doing great. I just wanted to give you a suggestion. Since we are a few users using your platform, I think it would be a great idea to have some kind of a forum or some kind of a chat room where we can swap ideas and we can help each other find stuff, because the thing with settlements that I know how to do it, but maybe there are some other things that I don't know how to do it. And calling you, it might be a little bit overwhelming, because I understand that sometimes each situation is different. So maybe the answer that you will give me will not apply for some other company. And I think it would be a good idea to have the community involved here. Like the other user said before, there is a learning curve, and it's pretty steep, because I'm using this program for a couple of years and I still don't know everything about it.
Right. Actually, we are working on getting a forum together and making that accessible from the sign-in page, the TruckLogics.com main page, and that will then enable, like you said, having the users get together, swap ideas, swap shortcuts, and you can even go out there and you can say, well, this is an enhancement I would like to see in the product, and then we can have other users chime in and say, oh yeah, that's it'll say that's something that would benefit me as well. So you can see how many people report something like that, and like you said, share ideas, share shortcuts, and we definitely welcome that, and that's something that we are working on.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Hi, Richard, did you have an additional question?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, all right, just checking.
All right, just a second, if you have any other questions.
All right, Tim, were you good?
I'm good on this side, yes.
Okay, thank you. I guess that wraps up our webinar. I see we have a couple people that have signed in late, and what I can do is I can give you a call, or you can call in, and then we can discuss things on a one-on-one basis. But I appreciate everybody showing up, and I appreciate the input. We'll definitely take your information and see what we can do with it. And right up here at the top, you can see our support number. I know a few of you are familiar with that already, but definitely call us if you have any questions, or email us if you have any questions, or we even have that live chat feature. So again, thank you very much for joining us in the first of a series of TruckLogics webinars. Have a good day.